Alright, a very good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's class. Let me just check if we're live or not. Give me a moment. Yeah, we are very much live. Yeah, so today we're going to be solving some previous year questions, right? That is the plan for today. Okay, before we begin with the questions, though, allow me to quickly take you through the introduction of the Unacademy platform. Unacademy is India's largest learning platform when it comes to any kind of test preparation, right? We have quality educators, top educators delivering quality content and providing you with a great learning experience at an academy. This YouTube channel is particularly for management exams such as your CAT, MAT, SAT, and MAT, GMAT, and the likes. I am Prankur Arora. I am going to be your instructor on this journey of learning. I'm going to be essentially taking you through various aspects of verbal ability as well as the reading comprehension portions of these exams. I've been in the learning industry for a better part of the last couple of years. I've consulted with various companies such as Interglobe Air Transport, Becton Dickinson India, Marico Limited, ITC Limited, all these organizations on different aspects of learning and development. Right. I am also a published author. Wrote this book called It's Not Funny, garnered favorably positive reviews. Right. The book is a work of satirical fiction. So if you're fond of dark comedy, if you're fond of dark humor and satire, you can check it out. It's available on Amazon. It even garnered glowing testimonials from the likes of Biswapati Sarkar, Papa CJ, great satirists of our country. I hold advanced certifications in facilitation from an American organization called Leadership Management International, and I co founded this company called Thought Sutra. Thought Sutra is an endeavor to uplift the ecosystem of the creative arts. So, yeah, that's pretty much about me. Welcome aboard this journey of learning. I'm sure we're going to have great fun and great learning experiences together. So there are quite a lot of features that add to the Unacademy advantage, right? Some of those features include giving you access to daily live classes where you have real-time interaction with your educator, right? You can chat with your educators, engage in discussions, spark off discussions, ask your doubts. Even the question answers, they're conducted in a very interesting format of live polls, right? So you can participate in those live polls and you're always competing for a place on the leaderboard. We conduct regular tests and quizzes as well. The idea of these tests and quizzes is to help you develop, some perspective about where you are versus where you want to be in your learning journey, right? So there's that, and all the courses on the platform are pretty much structured, very much in line with your exam syllabus to help you get the best of everything. And with one subscription to the platform, you get unlimited access to all kinds of live and recorded courses that you can watch from the comfort of any of your devices. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. And these are some of our top educators. You can clearly see how very credible they are, and you can start learning from all of these top educators for free before deciding whether you want to enroll for to enroll to avail the key subscription benefits or not. New batches, new courses, they keep on going live. Language is never a barrier either, right? So we've got educators teaching in vernacular languages as well. um a really cool thing about the platform is that you design your own schedule. You decide what are the kind of courses you want to enroll into, who are the educators you want to be learning from, right? So all that ownership is on you. And as I said, all interaction will happen in real time. Even the question answers, they are conducted in the form of live polls. And when I say that, we conduct these tests and quizzes to give you detailed perspective, the idea is that we give you in-depth insights into your performance. We give you data, we give you statistics such as the time you're spending on every question, what are your topic-wise scores, what are your section-wise scores, right? Stuff like that. Plus, you will see throughout the class today that I'll be scribbling a lot of stuff on these class notes. So, all of these class notes, along with the educator annotations, They're made available to you once you subscribe to the platform. Talking of subscription, these are the various models. You can clearly see that as the time period of the subscription goes up, the cost of the subscription per month goes down dramatically. And if you use my first name Prankur, you will get an extra 10% off on any of the subscriptions that you go for. You said that. Let's begin with the first question for the day. Which is the correct proverb? Right? So we've got four options. Sleeping dogs tell lies. Dogs sleeping lie till late. Lie sleeping dogs till the dawn comes, and let the sleeping dogs lie. So the correct proverb, clearly you can imagine from all the options that we have, right? We've got very weird options here, and you can clearly imagine that the correct proverb is option D, which is let the sleeping dogs lie, which means do not cause trouble, do not cause new troubles by stirring up things that have settled down, that have long settled down. Do not cause trouble by stirring those up, right? So let the sleeping dogs lie. Don't wake them up, otherwise they'll start barking and they just might bite you, right? So that's the meaning that they want to essentially derive from this one. What about this? A fool is always parted from his money. A fool and his money are parted easily. Money and the fool must part ways. You can always part a fool from his money. Which one is the correct proverb? The correct proverb is option B. A fool and his money are parted easily. The idea here essentially being that uh, a foolish person will soon lose all his wealth. Foolish person don't really have the brains to sustain wealth, to build on it. They will always lose their wealth easily. If someone said you are the bomb, she or he or they probably would be telling you what? Are they telling you that you have a bad temper? Are they telling you that you are a war weapon? You are exceptional and or wonderful? You're dangerous? What are they trying to tell you? You are the bomb, right? This is colloquial, and I think all of you should be getting this right. The idea is you're exceptional and or wonderful. Now please bear in mind that these are previous year questions. None of the questions today are curated, are outside questions or questions that just fall in the pattern of snap. These are questions that have featured in the previous years, right? So there's that. So yeah, so you are the bomb is basically, if someone is described as a bomb, it means that the person is exceptional, the individual is brilliant and wonderful. When someone is declared or described as being flighty, the person described is probably what? when when someone is described as being flighty, The person described is probably, in all likelihood, uh, someone who is very indecisive, very irresponsible. Why? Because we tend to say that these are silly people, these are volatile people, and capricious people. They easily get upset, right? So, flighty is a person who is indecisive, irresponsible, right? And they easily get upset because of whatever reasons, because they're volatile. What does to take down the enemy mean? To take the enemy's pictures of the wall, to kill the enemy, to make friends with the enemy, to ignore the enemy. Clearly, a very direct question. To take down the enemy means to kill the enemy, right? This can only mean to kill the enemy. Let's look at the next question. What does dime a dozen mean? This is quite often used. Dime a dozen. Right, a dime a dozen. For one dime, you get a dozen. All dozens cost a dime. Anything that is common and easy to get, it is difficult to get people. Dime a dozen. What is dime a dozen? Is something that is common and very, very easy to get. Alright? If you've understood this, let's look at the next question. Throw the baby out with the bath water. What does it mean? Right? We've got four options: clean out everything, throw out the good things with the unwanted, being thorough, create the impression of an accident. Now, this is something that can be deciphered, right? Throw the baby out with the bath water. To throw the baby out with the bath water means to throw out the good things with the unwanted. Unwanted is the bath water. Good thing is obviously the baby, right? So this is something. This is an idiom that could have probably been deciphered out of the options that we already have. Bark up the wrong tree means what? You're barking up the wrong tree. What does that mean? Does it mean skin of another animal? No. Does it mean to behave like a dog just because we have bark here? No. Purposely make an error or make the wrong choice. So, bark up the wrong tree is to make a mistake, right? To make a mistake. And C says purposely, since it is a mistake, it is basically option D here, the most viable, the most suitable answer option, to make the wrong choice, to make a mistake, right? It is not something that you do purposely. The repetition of messages or the use of superfluous expressions is called what? So the idea is, when it comes to option B, hyperbole are basically exaggerated statements or claims that are, not really meant to be taken literally, right? So that is not the use of superfluous expressions or repetition of messages, right? Alliteration is option C. Alliteration is the basically the occurrence of, the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or, closely connected words. For example, an alliteration could be uh, sweet birds singing, right? Sweet and singing here. You're repeating the same sound, you're repeating the same letter, right? Allegory is again not repetition of words. Allegory means to, it is basically a story or a poem or a picture that can be kind of interpreted to reveal a hidden meaning, right? For example, Pilgrim's Progress, it is an allegory of the spiritual journey, right? So that is, basically a symbol essentially. So B, C, D are all incorrect. Redundant, repetition of messages is basically making it redundant, right? So for example, if you're using also and together, and also I did this, no, and I did this, also I did this, and also together become redundant, right? So this is the correct answer in that sense. I dashed my bike yesterday, so my legs are sore. Obviously, we are referring to the past tense, right? Something happened yesterday. So the past tense rode is apt with yesterday, right? So that is the correct answer in this regard. Rode is something else. Rode and ride is present tense, so this is incorrect. Rode and road mean different things. They're not verbs here, right? Right, this one is again easy. Insulation was fitted to dash further heat loss from the building. Right? What are we trying to say here? Insulation was fitted to prevent prevent further heat loss from the building. Right? Prevent is the only word that makes this meaningful. Right? The idea essentially being that prevent connects insulation with heat loss. Insulation and heat loss, they need to be connected. Was fitted to guard further heat loss? No. To protect further heat loss? Not really. Prevent is a more apt verb here, right? To save further heat loss? No. Insulation was fitted to prevent further heat loss from the building. Right. My boat has two sails. A boat has sails. A boat does not has these. This sales is business development. Sales is incorrect and sales is not a word either. So a boat has two sails. A dash rate of inflation makes exports difficult. Great rate of inflation, high rate of inflation, large rate of inflation, or tall rate of inflation. Oh, right. See, we have to aptly describe the rate of inflation, and the rate of inflation is aptly described as a high. A high rate of inflation makes exports difficult. Try to figure out the meaning that we want to derive from this question. Right? Try to figure out the meaning. Yes, you're right, Sarthak. Can you give me further details, please? That is the apt meaning that we want to figure out here. A baby deer is called. A baby deer is called. Hi Shivam, welcome to the class. A baby deer is called a fawn. Yes. Spot the error. B is correct when assertion is used with the win-win approach and with others who also. This is singular, others is plural, so this needs to be plural as well. And with others who also use the win-win approach, each party can consider the needs of the other and move towards a solution that satisfies as many needs as possible. Right? So the verb form needs to be in agreement with the object here. Uses is incorrect. Yes, it should be use. You have to make the sentence coherent. You have to make it meaningful here. The greatest dash of my generation. B. The greatest discovery. The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude. B is the only one that makes the sentence coherent. Good job, you guys. How about this one? Follow the process of elimination here, right? What are you comparing? A mind lift beats a what? Obviously, a mind lift beats a facelift. You're drawing a comparison between two different kinds of, you know, corrections. And when it comes to staying young, a mind lift beats a facelift any day, right? So that is the only option that is kind of making the sentence very meaningful. Empty is the correct answer. None are so empty as those who are full of themselves. Those who are full of themselves are empty. All the other important, vital, indispensable also means what? Indispensable means absolutely necessary, right? So all these three are the opposites. Yes, your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning. Yep. I did not see you. Which preposition should we be using here? I did not see you not in. I did not see you at the office party, right? At is used to describe the location. Where did I not see you? I did not see you at the office party. Okay, that is a more apt preposition to be used here. Yep, as cool as a cucumber. Hi Purv, welcome to the class. As fresh as. No, not dew, others, as fresh as a daisy, right? I can imagine why you guys would go for dew, but the correct way to use this is when we say something is as fresh as a daisy. The idea being that as fresh as a daisy means something that is full of energy. Some You look as fresh as a daisy, you're full of energy. You look as if you're very healthy, like Mountain Dew. Choose the correct antonym for the word below from the options provided. The word is eulogize. Okay, B and C. Criticize is correct. Good job, others. Apurv, C is incorrect. Right? Emulate is when you're trying to emulate somebody. You're trying to emulate your heroes, right? Imbibe your heroes. Amulet is basically an ornament. Extol is to praise. Eulogize is when somebody dies, and at their funeral you make a speech, remembering the person, praising the person mostly. So criticize is the only word that comes to mean the opposite of praising somebody, right? The angry. Pedantic does not mean that you're angry. Pedantic means you're finicky. Pedantic means that you're very particular, and you get upset when all the details are not met. You want everybody to follow. Hi Nitya. Right? Pedantic essentially, it kind of means something very different. Pedantic is not about referring to small children. Pedantic is pediatrics. Pedantic is then when you're excessively concerned with small details and rules, and you're over scrupulous there. You're very finicky there. You get upset when all the details, all the rules are not followed. Okay? Choose the word that cannot be coupled with the given word to form a new word. See, outbug is the correct answer, Apurv. Outshine, outnumber, outrun. These can all be combined to form a new word, right? Others, outnumber is a term, right? To basically, uh, how do I tell you? Outnumber means to be more numerous. For example, uh, when it comes to engineering colleges, men often outnumber women, right? Men often outnumber women by sometimes a 5 is to 1 ratio, right? So outnumber is a term there, but outbug does not really mean anything, right? So outshine, outnumber, outrun all mean something, right? To outshine somebody, to basically perform better than them. Outrun obviously is very self-explanatory. How about this one? Basically, try to figure out the odd one out in the sense that out of the four options, three can be found in a dictionary, right? The word that you cannot find in a dictionary is the one that you have to basically figure out. See, see, news, newsletter is a word. Then we have news week. Here we have newsstand, and then we have newspaper, right? Uh, Newsletter can be found in a dictionary. Newsstand can be found in a dictionary. Newspaper can be found in a dictionary. What is a newsletter? A newsletter are those leaflets that are, that you basic. जितने भी तुम्हें emails आते हैं ना from different blogs, those are newsletters, right? Newsstand is a place where you can buy newspapers, right? You'll always find a newsstand at at a railway platform, right? You'll always find newsstands there. Newspaper is something very self-explanatory, but news week is something that is a proper noun. News week could be a magazine, news week could be a show, right? It is not a term that you will find in a dictionary, whereas newsletter, newsstand, newspapers, you will find them in a dictionary. News week, on the other hand, is a proper noun, right? It is the name of a magazine or a show or something. What does pyrophobia mean? Yeah, Apurv got the last question right. Good job, Apurv. The others says C. All right. Anybody else? D. Pyrophobia. Yes. See, pyre means fire, right? Funeral pyres. What are pyres? Pyre is a reference to fire. Phobia is fear. So pyrophobia together means fear of fire. All right, others. Choose the word that completes the first and begins the second word. This is a Snap 2011 question. Exactly, Apur, we've gotten this right. Paper weight. Paper weight are those objects that you basically use to hold down paper so that paper does not fly away. And weightlifter is again a very self-explanatory term. Paper light and light lifter कुछ नहीं होगा. Others. What is paper light? And what is light lifter? Light lifter does not really mean anything. Weightlifter are, you know, professionals who take weight training seriously. You have weightlifting competitions when it comes to the Olympics, right? Okay. Look at this paragraph, right? And then we'll, solve the questions that follow. Let me know once you're done reading this, and then I'll move on to the questions. The emancipation of women, James Joyce told one of his friends, has caused the greatest revolution in our time. Other modernists agree. Virginia Woolf, claiming that in about 1910 human character changed, and illustrating the new balance between the sexes, urged, read the Agamemnon and see whether your sympathies are not almost entirely with Clytemnestra. D.H. Lawrence wrote, perhaps the deepest fight for 200 years and more has been the fight for women's independence. But if modernist writers considered women's revolt against men's domination as one of their greatest and deepest themes, only recently, perhaps in the past 15 years, has literary criticism begun to catch up with it. Not that the images of sexual antagonism that abound in modern literature have gone unremarked, far from it. We are able to see in literary works the perspective we bring to them, and now that women are enough to make a difference in reforming canons and interpreting literature, the landscapes of literary history and the features of individual books have begun to change. So, what is this paragraph generally about, right? The general theme of this paragraph is about, the themes and the change in literature from a women's perspective, right? How did women emancipation, how did emancipation of women change the perspective when it came to viewing literature, and how of late, things have begun to change. The idea being that all modernists claim that emancipation of women was a big theme, but there was not a lot of literary criticism, right? But of late, they are saying literary criticism is plenty abound, right? Let's look at the first question. According to the passage, modernists are changing literary criticism by how are modernists changing literary criticism? Are they changing by noting instances of hostility uh, between men and women, seeing literature from fresh points of view, studying the works of early 20th century writers, or reviewing books written by feminists? How are modernists, according to the passage, how are modernists changing literary criticism? Let's look at the last sentence of the passage, right? We are able to see in literary works the perspective we bring to them, and now that women are enough to make a difference in reforming canons and interpreting literature, the landscapes of literary history and features of individual books have begun to change. So we are able to see in literary works the perspective we bring to them, right? So the idea is that you are kind of seeing literature from fresh points of view, from your fresh perspective, right? So this is very evident from the last line of the paragraph, right? So B is the correct answer in this regard. Let's look at the next question. The author quotes James Joyce, Virginia Woolf, and D.H. Lawrence primarily in order to show that. In order to show what? The author quotes James Joyce, Virginia Woolf, and D.H. Lawrence primarily in order to show what? Let's look at the passage. Virginia Woolf claiming that in about 1910 human character change and illustrating the new balance between the sexes urged read the Agamemnon and see whether your sympathies are not almost entirely with uh, Clytemnestra. D.H. Lawrence wrote perhaps the deepest fight for 200 years and more has been the fight for women's independence, right? And James Joyce told one of his friends, the emancipation of women has caused the greatest revolution in our time. Right? So, when you look at the options that we have, right, we have these options. These were feminist writers, although when meaning they were ineffectual. Hi Nitya, welcome to the class. Before the 20th century, there was little interest in women's literature, none of the above. You were saying that before the 20th century, there was little interest in women's literature. So, when you look at all these options, the authors refers to these. Look at this, right? It's not that there was little interest in women's literature, right? What the author is referring to here is how literary writings have changed and how the criticism is changing, right? The author is trying to basically contrast the criticism, right? Look at this line. But if modernist writers considered women's revolt against men's domination as one of their greatest and deepest themes, only recently, perhaps in the past 15 years, has literary criticism begun to catch up with that. Right? So the author wanted to contrast the criticism. Right? So none of the above would probably be a more viable answer option in this regard. Let's look at the third question. The author's attitude towards women's reformation of literary canons can best be described as one of what? Was it of ambivalence? Was it antagonism? Was it indifference? Was it endorsement? B. Antagonism. See, the author is not antagonizing literary canons. What is the author doing? Look at all the. So, antagonism is when you're basically against them, right? The author's attitude towards women's reformation of literary canons, the author is not against women reforms. If the author were indifferent, the author would not have been writing it, right? And the author is not even ambivalences when you're okay with it. Neither are you against it nor are you for it. But from the passage, we can clearly see that the author is very much for it, right? Note the usage of we. We are able to see this, right? Or the author is contrasting the criticism because the author believes that it is only off late that we are catching up with all of this, right? So what the author is doing is the author is endorsing it. The author is endorsing it. The author is all for it. The author wants women's reformation of literary canons, right? So the author is very passionate about it. That is what we can kind of infer. Which of the following titles best describes the contents of the passage? Right, the passage is about how literature has changed, right? What is the passage about? The passage is basically about it is talking about how literature has changed with women's emancipation, how criticism has changed over the years. So a very apt title of this passage could be transforming literature, how it has changed over the years, right? Let's look at a few sentence correction questions now. We planned for the dinner at the 11th hour, or rather, you have to basically figure out the meaning of this. This is not sentence correction. You have to figure out the meaning of potluck dinner. So, we decided to have potluck dinner. What does potluck dinner mean? Potluck dinner essentially means dinner where everybody brings something to eat. Alright? That is what potluck dinner means. The carrot and stick policy pays dividends in every organization. What is the meaning of the carrot and stick policy? The carrot and stick policy is the reward and punishment policy. You would be probably you would be knowing that imagery, right? Wherein you're sitting on a donkey and you're holding a stick, right? And the stick has a carrot hanging, a very big juicy orange carrot hanging, and it is basically, you're holding it uh, right in front of the donkey's face, where the donkey thinks that it is aspirational, where the donkey thinks, okay, you know what, I can reach the carrot. So the donkey starts moving towards the carrot, but it is at a safe distance, right? It is aspirational for the donkey. At the same time, it is at a distance where the donkey is not able to reach there. And eventually the donkey gets tired, right? And then you, what do? You remove the carrot and you start flogging the donkey from behind using the same stick, right? So this is a reward and punishment system, right? A carrot and stick policy. Identify the error. The government has warned that air pollution from vehicles and power stations is reducing life expectancy in the country in an average of 6 months. Obviously, the fourth part contains the error. The government has warned that air pollution from vehicles and power stations is reducing life expectancy in the country at an average of 6 months, right? You're talking about a very precise number, right? So it is reducing life expectancy at an average of 6 months, not in an average. If all goes well, the examination scheduled for next month is all set to be completely free from annoying power cuts and disruptions. If all goes well, the examination scheduled for next month is all set to be completely free from annoying power cuts and disruptions. So, uh, we are talking about a hypothetical scenario, right? And hypothetical scenarios are futuristic scenarios, right? So, if all goes well, this is what will happen, right? And I don't see any subject verb disagreement either, right? Because you're talking about a single exam and the main verb is singular as well, right? And you're saying that these will be free from annoying power cuts and disruptions, so there is no prepositional error either. So this sentence contains no error. This is a sentence correction error. Now the priest describes expectations as the root cause of all miseries. You have to figure out whether this is correct, or you will go with one of these four options. Right. So the priest describes expectations as the root cause of all miseries. What is the meaning? The meaning that we can derive from the sentence is that expectations cause miseries, right? So that is why expectations as the root cause makes a lot of sense. Expectation is the root cause. Root cause, nahi. Expectations are the root cause, not really. Are the root causes of all miseries. Describe something as, right? Describe something. Describe X as Y, right? Describe X as Y is more apt than describe X are Y or describe X is Y, right? So no correction is required according to me in this sentence. Let's look at another question. The purpose of organizing all these activities is more to instruct than providing entertainment, right? So the correlative that we are using here is more x than y. And here x and y, they need to be parallel. And clearly we can see both x and y are verbs here, right? More x than y. X and y are both verbs. So more to instruct than to provide entertainment. So you've got to make both these verbs uniform in construction. You've got to make the both of them parallel. More to instruct than to provide entertainment. Right. So D is the correct option in that scenario. So guys, with this we come to the end of today's class. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you guys had a lot of fun. And yeah, I'll see you soon. I'll be back with more curated questions tomorrow, same time, 10 o'clock in the morning. I'll see you then. Till then, stay safe, stay strong, and stay mellow.